Good. Wee bit extreme. Came back from Turkey on Friday and I think it was 22, 23 degrees, and come back to Edinburgh, it's like -7. Come back to Livingston, it's at -14. No, but it's been good. Really good to get some training into the boys, some warm weather training. Now you can get some information in your sessions, some tactical sessions. But we had 2 games over there. We had QPR just before we left down at Loftus Road, which was very good, and then we played FC La Pazia over there in a wee tournament in Fortuna Sittard, and we managed to win both games and come out on top of the wee tournament. So really good exercise. Like the players really enjoyed it. I really enjoy it. You enjoy coming up against different players, different managers, different types of football, different formations and different approaches to the game. So albeit we're having a wee bit of a laugh, European football, but you're playing European opponents and the approach is different, and it whets your appetite. It definitely whets your appetite. What I would say then, it's got that knock-on effect, European football, into the league campaign in terms of the amount of games you're playing. But do you know what? It's good problems. It would be nice problems to have. But definitely for, personally me, it's one of my main objectives. I'd love to try and get Livingston into European football. We've not been a million miles away for that over the years. And I'm sure the players and the rest of the staff are the same. Goals to stay in the league and try and finish in the top 6. So you kind of split the season up. I think all going well, it looks like we're going to stay in the league, but you're still got to go and pick these points up. With a wee bit of luck, you can finish in the top 6, and I think once you're in the top 6, then you can reset, re-evaluate your objectives and probably push for European football. It's my job to make sure that happens. By the 3 games that we've had against decent opponents, I've never really seen a drop off in terms of players' performance or application, so I'm fairly confident we can pick up where we left off. What you're probably going to find is, but maybe some of the teams you're coming up against have gained a little bit from the league stopping, so they've had a bit of grass time with no pressure on them to re-evaluate and reset basically. So we had momentum going forward and a positive energy, whereas maybe some teams were quite glad of the break. So it probably allows us all to reset and go again. So I think you're going to see probably a slight change in where we left off, if I'm honest, but hopefully I've done enough to keep the positive momentum going forward. I've had a few £100 bids for Joel. They're on the exactly where they should be in the bin. Joel, I spoke about it. I actually spoke to the big man yesterday. Joel's not going anywhere in January, so if somebody wants to bid for him, it'll need to be outrageous. But I would be doing Livingston a disservice. I'd be doing the players in that changing room a disservice if I was to allow Joel Nibley to leave this building. Collectively, we've got ambitions this year, and Joel plays a huge part in that. He's a very important player, he is. So I spoke to Joel. I see Joel's future being elsewhere in the summer. Spoke to him, being very open and honest with that. I'd be surprised if I don't get some interest in him in the summer, because for me, he can play a 7, a 9 or 11. His numbers are getting better. Definitely in the wide areas, his numbers are very good in terms of a winger. I think he's probably out with the old firm. I'd probably argue he's one of the best wingers in the Premier League. So out with probably Celtic. I'll not say the old firm, out with Celtic. So I think he's been fantastic for us. He'll be staying here in January, not unless something outrageous comes in, which isn't going to happen. So hopefully Joel can leave the club in the summer and leave us in a very good place, because he's been outstanding for us this year. And it's my job to make sure I keep Joel in the building and to keep pushing on as a club. And we try and get top 6, we try and get European football, but again, go back to it, staying in the league's the main objective. There's not a choice to sign it, it's an option in the club's favour, so whether he signs it or not, it doesn't really matter. As a club option, we're going to take that option year, so that's just a formality, if I'm honest. It secures Livingston, but I think there's a lot more to come for Joel Nibley in terms of what he can bring. I'm looking forward to the next step, the next evolution in Joel Nibley's career. I'd love to see him down in the Championship again, but I'd love to see him at maybe one of the top 2 in Scotland as well. So I'm looking forward to it. He's been huge for us. Joel got to take huge credit himself, because he's come in and every day he applies himself very well. And what I like about him, Joel's very educated. He's a very clever football player, and he finds solutions within the game to have an impact, have an effect in that game, and that's what I like about him. He finds solutions on the park to make sure he's having the maximum impact that he can. Honest, I think out with probably top two at this point in time. I think for 30 to 12's anybody's, and I include the teams at the bottom of the league, because you go on 3-4 games winning streak and it takes you right up the league, but for you to do that you're probably having the knock-on effect that someone else is losing 3 or 4 games. So I think from 3rd to 12th this year is going to be really, really tight. Be a brave man to say who's going to make Europe and who's going to be relegation, who's going to be the playoff type thing. I think me personally, I just try and take one game at a time and see where it takes us. We got into this wee break in a good position, sitting 4th in the league, and again, come the turn of the year, that's probably another slight milestone in our season. To see where we are, then we'll reevaluate in the January window and try and go again. Partsy's actually making really good progress. Hopefully Partsy's going to be involved in first team training 6 weeks, give or take, so he's in a really, really good place. If I can get him back on the park around March time, maybe April time, get him a wee bit of game time before the start of next season, but he's in a really good place mentally, physically, and I'm looking forward to him returning, because he's been through them all, the big man. It took him a wee bit of time to adapt to Scottish football and ourselves, but I've liked everything I've seen when he's been on the park and when he's been off the park, but he's absolutely put everything he can into his rehab. On a number of occasions, this is a bigger injury, but he's worked so hard, and he's one of these players that I can't wait to see him on the park injury free. A couple of wee niggles and knocks, but nothing special. I had the flu bug for about a week there, 2 or 3 boys coming down, different 2 or 3 boys, but seem to have turned the corner with that as well.